Take 2 before this sloppy piece of shit camera died on the second try. Well, take 3. Okay, so this video is going to be in reference to, I'm crooked, this video is going to be in reference to newbie gains being a wasted, wasting your first few years of training, newbie gains, don't waste your potential, yada yada yada. All that, in my humble opinion, is bullshit. I'm going to explain to you why. So, there's this notion on YouTube that you have to train optimally within your first few years of training or else you'll waste your potential. That's bullshit. None of us are born with some sort of inherent ability to be great, or some sort of inherent, some sort of latent ability, some sort of latent fucking power level that we're just pre-prescribed, and we have to train optimally within a certain time period. And if we don't train optimally within that time period, poof, we waste our potential. We can never regain that excellence or that, or those proportions, or our ideal body type, right? Or goal weight, or a goal body, if I should say less. Now, what you end up losing isn't potential. You end up losing time. You end up just wasting time if you don't train optimally within a certain period of time, right? Like, if you don't train optimally in your first few years of training, you don't waste your potential. You just waste fucking time. So much time you could have spent properly researching or properly just implementing certain things that work in alignment with how the hell you want to look and work along with your goals, which brings us to the first point, whatever, right? Don't go through the motions. Don't ever go through the motions. All right. Don't be easily persuaded by some sort of goal that the broader youth fitness sphere has, whether it be powerlifting or CrossFit. God forbid if you do CrossFit, your joints are fucking finished, right? Powerlifting, CrossFit, or strongman, right? Even if your goals are CrossFit, right? This is a natural bodybuilding channel, right? You should just shy away from all that shit, whatever, if it isn't in line with your goals. This might sound dogmatic, but be rigid. Be as rigid as you can when you're first starting off with fitness, right? Be rigid in the sense that you have a goal, you know what you want. You don't just go through the motions. Be very meticulous in your planning. Think about that shit, right? Don't overthink, but think about that shit to the point where you have a set goal in mind. Don't go through the motions, have a set goal in mind. And this brings me to why I went balls to the walls initially in regards to training. So I started a 6-day training split, and people might say, well, that's fucking insane. Training 6 days a week from the start, yes, it's because I already had a vision. I knew what I wanted. I knew that I had to train each body group twice a week because it was in regards to protein synthesis. You have double the amount as a natural bodybuilder. You can't rely on HIIT training, the Mike Mentor method. Even though we all love Mike Mentor because he's so charming, I knew instinctually you couldn't rely on just training a body group once a week. You have to train it twice a week at least to double the protein synthesis, to essentially get those neurological pathways running, to stimulate the muscle in a sense. You grow twice as fast as a result from it. I also knew to shy away. I learned this from the get-go. Heavy compound movements should always be accompanied with isolation movements, and that's because I already had instilled in myself that I love bodybuilding. I want large shoulders. I want like a large chest, and I'm slowly building my way to getting really large quads. And I'm going to make a video on my attack plan for that. However, I already had a goal in mind. So, as natural bodybuilders, right, newbie gains potential, right? Wasting these years in your life, whatever. Yes, if you already done that, and if you're anything like me, you are gonna think in the past and say, "Damn, I could have done that differently. Fuck, I could have, implemented this differently, whatever." However, at least you know now. Now, while you can't change what happened in the past, you can always change what you're gonna implement in the future. So yeah, newbie gains potential. This whole realm of, oh my god, you have to do everything perfectly, or else you're gonna waste this time of window you have. Motherfucker, like, what do you think this is? This isn't. You don't have to wait for the fucking stars to align, or the constellation to make a certain way or whatever, right? Like, you don't have to wait for the Big Dipper to appear in the sky in order to do everything correctly. No, like, what you end up wasting is not potentiality. You waste time. You waste fucking time. Like, theoretically speaking, if someone just didn't train optimally within the first few years of training, right? Let's take legs for instance, because I did this myself. If someone theoretically didn't train legs optimally for the first few years of training, for the first 3 years of training, and they completely just skip squats altogether all of a sudden, right? let's say after those 3 years have passed and they're on year 6, you really think after 3 years of consistent squat training, consistent leg training, they implemented some proper hip hinges, some proper hip thrusts, or direct quad movements such as the hack squats, Bulgarian squats, those god awful squats from hell. Man, those shits are fucking painful. Leg extensions or whatever. Even if it's a minimalistic leg program, which you should be more biased towards too. You really think their legs wouldn't explode all of a sudden? That in and of itself. That notion in and of itself completely debunks this idea that you have some sort of latent potential when you first start training. Any muscle group is the same exact way. I'm an example of this in regards to legs. I trained them very poorly for the first years of training because I couldn't train them effectively due to my predisposition of having a lower back injury, which I ended up overcoming, and I will make a video of how I overcame my lower back injury. However, that's one significant instance, and you can't even deny it. Forearms are also a big thing. How many natural bodybuilders neglect forearm training or neck training? If you neglected this forearm training, what you ended up losing isn't your potential. You ended up losing your time. That's what we should take into consideration in regards to this whole don't waste your newbie gains. You're not wasting your newbie gains in the sense of they just go away. You're never going to get those gains ever. No, you're just wasting time. If you're playing some sort of 5x5 training, or if you go back to what they had back in the day, whatever, the mid-tier millennials had, they had starting strength, which thank God they didn't start off with that bullshit, right? Starting strength. Anything that mimicked powerlifting, I wasn't heavily against, but I knew that wasn't what I wanted, because I saw powerlifting physiques and I was like, I don't want to be a powerlifter, I want to be a bodybuilder, right? And that's what helped me. Like, even though I was very, I had a level of dogmatism to me, I wasn't so dogmatic to the point that I want to try things out. So that's important, try things out, but remember to try them out if you can, if they're in alignment with what the fuck your goals are. And yeah, so what's this going to be, a 5.5 minute video, because I didn't really have a lot to say in regards to this thing. But newbie gains, this whole notion of wasting your potential is bullshit, because although you shouldn't, although that's bullshit, right? You shouldn't go through the motions. Take your programming very seriously. Rep range, set range, resting, resting between the actual lifts. Firmly establish your long-term goals. How do you want to look? Which body parts are you prioritizing? What is your perceived rate of exertion on certain lifts? Take all that into consideration. Now, it might be analysis, death by analysis and paralysis, right? In the beginning, it might be overwhelming. So go little by little. Go little by little, right? If you're a new starter on this rep, go little by little. Take a small step. And yeah, ultimately, what you end up wasting isn't your potential. It's time, and that's pretty much it. It's gonna be a 7-minute video. I don't really have much planned for this shit because I really wanted to go head deep. It's mostly freestyle. That's pretty much it, guys. Peace.
Fatality.